How you doing, and welcome to Neither Real Music. I'm Ed. Today we're going to take a look at a few symbols in tablature that are often confused. But before that, please subscribe, check the little bell. This way you can get notifications when I give your next lesson. The three symbols we're going to be talking about are bends, slides, and hammer-on pull-offs. These can sometimes be called slurs. These three different symbols I often see get asked about the most. So let's take a look at the first of these, a bend. When bending strings, our top three strings, 1, 2, and 3, will usually bend upwards, and our bottom three strings, 6, 5, and 4, will usually bend down. Bends get broken down into a few different categories. The first one we're going to talk about is an instant bend. As an example, we're going to try to make our 7th fret sound like our 9th fret on our 4th string. So with an instant bend, the moment I pluck the string, the bend starts to happen. So this way, by the time beat 1 happens, the bend is the introduction to the note. The next type of bend is a bend that takes place over the course of a beat or beats. So if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, I would like this bend to take place between beats 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That bend uses the whole duration of the beat to happen. Instead of it just being an introduction to the note, it's the entire note itself. The next type of bend is what's called a pre-bend. It's exactly what it sounds like. The bend is already done before you start plucking the note. For this example, we're going to use 7th fret on our 3rd string, but we're going to make it sound like our 8th fret on our 3rd string. But as a change, we're going to bend this string up to already sound like 8 and bring it down to 7. So the instant version of this is this way. The introduction to the note sounds like it's falling into the note rather than rising up into it. Versus, similar to what we just did, if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The note slowly drops in from its pre-bent state. Slides are similar to bends. They work in the same fashion where you can have an instant version or a version that takes place over the course of time. With an instant slide, we're going to return to our 7th fret on our 4th string, and you're going to pluck and immediately start the slide process. So the slide once again sounds like an introduction to our next note. Versus a single beat, which is when I pluck and I hold it for a whole beat and slide just before I get to the next beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is different than if you were actually playing slide guitar. Slide guitar lays on the strings and the notes are slurred and have a very smooth transition from one note to another. Versus playing on the guitar, which has the frets, and if you're plucking on a fret, it'll move up stepwise through your notation. Going backwards is similar. If we put our third finger on our 8th fret of our 3rd string and pluck and immediately drop back a fret from 8 to 7, that is similar to our pre-bend where we fall into the next note. I can also take one whole single note up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. This way the slide happens at the last moment and you hear the first note, unlike the instant version where you don't hear the first note. Hammer-ons and pull-offs can also happen instantly or over the course of a single beat. When they happen instantly, sometimes they're referred to as a grace note. In fact, all of these instant versions can be considered a grace note. A grace note in music is a little itty-bitty note right in front of a large note, suggesting that there is a very quick transition into the large note that you're trying to get to. For an example, I'm going to put my first finger here on my 5th fret of my 4th string. If I pluck and drop my 3rd finger onto my 7th fret quickly, that would be the instant version of a hammer-on, the grace note version. I can also have it take place over the course of a single beat. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hammer-ons need to act like a little hammer. The finger that's falling needs to come in like if you're swinging a hammer onto the string. Pull-offs work in the exact same way, but in reverse. I'm going to have both of my fingers down. My 3rd finger on my 7th fret and my 1st finger on my 5th fret. I'm going to pluck. And your goal is to pull down with the finger that's doing a pull-off. It's called a pull-off, not a lift-off. I can also have that take place over the course of one beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are your 3 basic concepts for players' techniques: bends, slides, and hammer-ons. Something that you should try to do is add these in where it's convenient for you to make a simple solo sound more interesting. So if I take an idea like a little blues idea, I can do hammer-ons. And right here would be a perfect bend. It's up to you to decide how you want this to work. I could do that bend and replace it with a slide. Take your time with these concepts. Practice them, take any scale that you know and try to implement them at a place that is convenient within the scale and see how it changes what your solo might sound like. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you like what you saw, please remember to subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel, so every subscription helps tremendously. Ring the little bell so you can see when I put up a new lesson and you can check it out. Good luck and good practice.